no one expected. The end of episode 182. That time-space gate spanning the unknown would actually become a trap that devours spiritual power. Just as Long Heoken's holy sword, the Child of Light, pierced through the barrier of death. A sharp, needle-like pain spread through his palm. The once blazing golden flame suddenly wilted, like embers doused with cold water. When he looked down, his heart sank sharply. From the cracks in his mithril armor, a faint black mist was seeping out. The armor plates that once resisted the power of wind rust and oblivion were now completely driven apart by the rule power of the infinite star domain. Shattered, even the embedded gems of light lost their luster. Something's wrong. Shunkai's startled shout exploded right beside his ear. Long Heoken turned his head, seeing his purple hair being pulled straight by an invisible force. Straight. The tips of his hair even turned a grayish white. The purple shield formed at the moment of reincarnation was like candy softened by water. Every time it touched the star domain void, it dented. Pale purple light droplets dripped down from the dull eye. My reincarnation power is leaking away, like something is biting and pulling it. Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly clutched his chest and coughed. Blood droplets slipped through his fingers and fell into the starry sky. But they didn't fall downward. Instead, the void tore them into tiny fragments of blood matter. Before anyone could react to this eerie sight, the starry sky filled with dense wails, like countless needles stabbing into the ears. Behind the faded stars, swarmed translucent shadows emerged. They had no faces, only vague human-shaped outlines. Sharp light bands wrapped around them shattered into fluff. Blown by the wind, they quickly fell downward. These were the remnants of the star domain. Long Heoken had seen them in the ancient texts of the Holy Light Sanctuary, recorded as the souls that didn't dissipate in the shattering of the creation continent 6,300 years ago. The souls that failed to vanish in time were sucked into the infinite star domain by the inferior lineage of the eternal and creator god, the Eagle Throne. Since then, they became monsters surviving by devouring sharpness. Even powerful divine machine experts avoid them. Quick, open the barrier. A Korean shout came from the side. He had already taken on the fear and sorrow. The divine seal throne. A red wailing light shot up into the sky. It should have formed a light wall, dozens of meters wide. But the moment it touched the Dinyu rule, it was compressed into a thin shell clinging tightly to the throne. Even his sleeve cuff was burned through by the reverse red light. They consume spiritual power. Normal attacks are useless, Korean shouted as his left shoulder suddenly sank down. Level 180. Xingyun Plain. The old wound hit by the sealed sleeve scepter now burst open. A dark red streak was dragged across the starry sky. That wound had never fully healed. At this moment, Lin Liffin's counterattack turned the old injury into a vulnerability. Even the glow of the divine seal throne dimmed along with it. Dimmed. Long Heoken quickly pulled Shunkaier behind him. The light power in his palm just surged out when it collided with the demonic dragon bloodline inside his body. Usually, these two forces would explode on contact, but today, they strangely intertwined. Black and white twisted into a spiral light orb. Even the dragon-shaped birthmark on his neck started to burn. He suddenly recalled what Vashik said before dying, gripping his wrist tightly. Only the fusion of light and darkness can control the power of destruction. At the time, he thought it was just a prophecy. Now he understood that was Vashik calculating a way out, using the triple great prophecy technique. The path to survival, the dragon might left in the dragon god's mark, suddenly buzzed awake. Golden runes crawled up his arm, drawing ancient dragons and wrinkles in the starry sky, like when his mother Bai Yue drew protective symbols on the back of his hand when he was a child. Just then, Heo suddenly let out a heart-wrenching roar. The black lines on the eighth golden head came alive, wriggling like earthworms beneath the dragon's scales. The outline of the ninth head had clearly broken through the skin, but was wrapped in an invisible membrane. It couldn't open its eyes no matter what. It suddenly shook its head violently, hitting Long Heoken. The crimson pupils no longer showed the usual gentleness. Only raging violence surged within. This scene made Long Heoken's heart tighten painfully. Heo also lost control like this during evolution in episode 174. Back then, Everyone thought it was a side effect of evolution. Now he understood. It was the awakening of the divine punishment god Austin Griffin's consciousness, and the wailing of the lustful remnant soul was the key to awakening this destructive consciousness. Heyo, look at me. Despite his arm bleeding from dragon scale scratches, Long Heoken firmly held down his head. Do you remember the snow in Odin Town? That winter we hid in a broken temple. You warmed my hands with a little fire from your dragon whiskers, and pushed the last piece of jerky to me. His voice trembled. The bond power at his fingertips desperately penetrated Heo's consciousness. You are a member of the Dawn of Light, not a god of destruction. You promised to protect the holy city with me. Fragments of memory flowed through the bond. Heo's roar gradually softened. The howl of the bright moon gradually faded away. Zeke Wang's luminous head gently rubbed the back of Long Heoken's hand. The young man's fiery head emitted a warm and stunning glow. Even the usually mischievous Zile restrained his electric sparks. Over the years, they had braved the undead swamp together, climbed the eternal tower side by side, won every battle together. Surprisingly, he even surpassed Austin Griffin's destructive will. At that moment, the runes of the dragon god's mark suddenly exploded. The sound of wind rustling echoed through the starry sky, not very loud, but carrying a power that pierced through everything. Use your bloodline as a lock, not as a key. Light and darkness must bind it, not feed it. Long Heoken suddenly looked up sharply. In the distance, on the shattered planet, stood a black figure. The black robe fluttered in the bloody wind like a flag. That was Feng Xiu. His palm condensed a faint golden dragon aura. Yet with every step forward, this demon emperor, who once vowed to crush the holy city, now had no killing intent in his eyes, only a complex heaviness. Long Heoken suddenly recalled the past his mother Bai Yue told him. 6,000 years ago, Feng Xiu was still called Maple Forest. He lived in the mountains with Bai Lingxuan for 3 years. Later their identities were exposed. The human demon hunting group. For the mountain, he fought desperately to break free. But when he looked back, he only saw Bai Lingxuan's tombstone. Later he captured Bai Yue to the demon emperor's palace. Bai Yue was already dead. They intended to leave together, but in the end, he still let go. Now facing his own grandson, he even left a backup in the dragon god's mark, not for revenge, but so Long Heoken could bear the burden of fighting the void, the responsibility. Understanding this, Long Heoken no longer hesitated. The power of light surged through his veins to his fingertips. The demonic dragon bloodline resonated with a pounding heartbeat. The two forces on the bright moon's head merged into a tighter spiral of light patterns. The star domain of the ruined forest suddenly froze. As if frozen in place, the spiritual energy bands on their bodies began to tremble. Clearly, they sensed the power of the rules left by the Creator God, the power Griffin used to seal Austin 6,000 years ago. And the thing these ruined forests feared most, the ruined forests began to retreat. But when they retreated to a certain starry space, suddenly, it was as if swallowed by an invisible mouth. Not even a shadow remained. It was a void rift. Shunkai's realm of reincarnation suddenly shone dazzlingly bright. Suddenly, a blinding light appeared. The six-pointed star on the interface spun rapidly. Canlin dared not approach there, indicating that the void's minions were about to emerge. Just as he finished speaking, Abao's wild laughter echoed through the starry sky. The sound was filled with twisted pride, even crazier than when we were on Xingyun Plain. Long Heoken turned his head and saw Abao, leading 6 people in blue robes charging forward. On those robes were embroidered the exact same runes as Tang Ling's back then. The staffs in their hands glowed with dark purple light at the tips. Long Heoken, you think awakening the god of retribution means you can win. Abao's magic sword cut through the starry sky, leaving black streaks wherever the sword energy swept. Even the stars dimmed slightly. My father had already predicted this, that Heo's consciousness would be awakened by Canlin. Once he goes mad, the entire infinite star domain will be his sacrifice. No one knows better than Long Heoken the lies in Abao's words. At the end of episode 182 during the pursuit, he saw Abao hanging a black crystal at his waist. It was the hollow device left by Tang Ling. It can amplify a person's hatred tenfold. Bao had already lost the title of Demon Prince because he was defeated by Long Heoken, and now he was entangled by the crystal. He had long become Tang Ling's puppet on strings, not even knowing Feng Xiu's true intentions. Your father never treated you like a son. Long Heoken raised his holy sword. The golden blade cut through Bao's sword energy. What he wanted was to use your hand to open the void gate, to let Tang Ling's master enter and devour the holy demon continent. Bao's eyes turned red, clearly struck at a painful truth, yet unwilling to admit it. He charged forward, wielding his magic sword. Nonsense. My father is the demon god emperor. How could he help humans? His magic sword burned with devouring black flames, directly slashing at Long Heoken's chest. Shunk's eye instinctively stepped in front, without hesitation. The arrow of reincarnation traced 3 beams of light. With a clang, it struck the magic sword. His body flew backward as if hit by a heavy hammer. When Long Heoken reached out to catch him, he realized his back was already burned through by black flames. Even the light of the reincarnation realm dimmed. Don't try to tough it out. Long Heoken's voice tightened. Shunk's eye shook her head, shoving the arrow of reincarnation into his hand. We are symbiotic beings? Didn't you forget? Episode 179, Xingyu Death Arena. He burned half his reincarnation power to protect him, binding their lives together. Now Long Heoken's spiritual power is unstable. His strength will fluctuate as well. But even so, his power also wavered accordingly. But even so, he had no intention of retreating from Han. Yuzhong shouted loudly, "Destroy the rune!" Long Heoken shouted to the side. Han Yu immediately dragged the divine seal throne and rushed over. The red wailing light slammed toward those blue-robed mages, but was deflected back by the void runes in front of them. Zhang Fangfang closed his eyes. His spiritual power transformed into thousands of silver arrows, gradually shining with a cold light. But as soon as they touched the runes, they shattered into light ink. These mages are all traders of the infinite star sun. They have absorbed a lot of Star Jade's spirit energy. Their spiritual power has long surpassed 800,000 points, even stronger than Feng Xiu without the lamp god. Lin Din squatted behind, quickly forming a protective membrane. The magic arrays flames, frost, and lightning intertwined and exploded outward, but only left a few white marks on the mages' shields, not even breaking their skin. Just then, suddenly from the starry sky came the roar that pierced the eardrums. The voice of a goddess followed. Demonic sons, raid the Black Dragon town. A million demon warriors raised their weapons simultaneously. Black demonic flames burst from their bodies, condensing into a massive black dragon in the starry sky. The dragon's claw swung, smashing toward the void runes. Even more surprising was, Han Yu's wailing light actually climbed up along the black dragon's claw, red and black intertwined, and truly pressed down one of the runes. The demon god emperor was right. Agala's voice was a bit hoarse, yet extremely resolute. Demons and humans have never been enemies. Only then did Dragon Heoken remember. Agalas had always been at odds with Feng Xiu before, until he saw Vashak's letter. Then he changed his stance. The letter revealed Tang Lingyao's conspiracy with Tun Weimian, and also the truth about Feng Xiu abandoning his divine position to create his own divine pavilion. Feng Xiu had long sensed the threat of the Void Lord. Everything he did was paving the way. Even deliberately making Bao hate him was to keep Bao from being dragged into the void vortex. Unfortunately, Tang Ling still came, taking advantage of the empty space while the runes were suppressed. Dragon Heoken held Shunkire and climbed onto Heo's back. The 8th golden head suddenly charged forward. The membrane on the 9th head broke, revealing bright red pupils. But unlike before, it was not violent. Instead, it shone with a hint of clarity and calm. Heo sprayed a burst of light combining black and white toward Bao's direction. It directly struck the demon sword. The sword that once wounded Han Yu shattered like glass into pieces, directly smashed onto the demon sword. That demon sword, which had once wounded Han Yu, shattered like glass into pieces. Impossible. Bao stepped back several paces, his face full of disbelief. My father said the god of divine punishment only brings destruction. But he didn't say everything. Long Heoken jumped down from Heo's back. The black and white light orb in his palm was still glowing. Destruction and protection are essentially the same thing. Just like light cannot exist without darkness, darkness cannot exist without light either. As soon as he finished speaking, the void runes in the starry sky suddenly exploded with a boom. Countless black tentacles crawled out from the cracked void, like vines swept by the wind. The stars instantly went out. Even the armor of the demon warriors was shredded by the tentacles. Not even a speck of ash remained. Heioken caught it. The sound of wind wrestling suddenly rose sharply. He finally moved. The defiant demon dragon pillar spun in his hand. A batch of obsidian-colored annihilation burst out, instantly severing dozens of tentacles. But even more tentacles surged out. Feng Xiu's black robe was slashed open in several places by the tentacles. Black blood droplets fell into the starry sky, mixing with the blood residue from before. Saint Kyr's blood. Suddenly he threw something toward Long Heioken. It was a rose gold crystal. After exploding in midair, a pale white phantom drifted out. It was Bai Lingxuan. Long Heioken had seen him in an old photo of his mother. His gentle brows and eyes resembled Saint Kyr a bit, a shard of the heart of light. It can only survive at the void rift. Bai Lingxuan's voice was very soft, yet it could penetrate all the noise. His phantom gently touched Long Heioken's forehead. Don't make the same mistake we did, mistaking love for weakness. Love has always been the strongest armor, and the sharpest sword. Only then did Long Heioken remember. In his arms, he was still holding the heart of light shard given by his mother. At this moment, the shard suddenly lit up, crawling from his palm toward Heio. This shard was nurtured by Bai Lingxuan with his own menstrual blood back then. Feng Xiu had hidden it for decades, not even daring to use it during the confrontation with Bai Yue. But now, to protect the surface, he handed over his last hope. Heio's ninth head fully opened its eyes. The star-red copper core no longer carried the aura of destruction. Instead, it reflected Long Heioken's shadow. His 9 heads simultaneously blew a dragon stream toward the void rift. 9 colors of light intertwined, forming a huge light shield. The tentacles crashed against it, instantly turning to dust. Long Heioken suddenly felt the power within him surge fiercely. The powers of light and darkness completely fused together. The holy sword, child of light, turned into black and white dual colors. The rune of fitness, connected with eternity, linked to the light of the throne of the god of creation. Even the air trembled. It's the eternal hero. Saint Kyr suddenly pointed deep into the starry sky. Long Heioken looked up. He saw a swarm of golden figures drifting over. They wore ancient armor of light. The weapons in their hands glowed with the same light as the eternal heroes. Are the powerful warriors who have entered the infinite star domain over thousands of years. Some are knights of light. Some are ancient demon gods of the demon race. They have not dissipated. They are waiting for someone who can fight against the void. The elder leading them bowed to Long Heioken. We have waited 1,000 years, finally waiting for the key spoken of by the god of creation. Bao watched all this, suddenly stepped back. The hollow device at his waist cracked. He stared at the tentacles in the void rift, then glanced at the wounds on Feng Xiu's body. Suddenly understood something. He dashed fiercely toward the rift, using his own body to block a tentacle that was wrapping around Long Heioken. Long Heioken, Bao's voice screamed heart-wrenchingly, "Protect the holy demon continent for me. Don't let my father's efforts be in vain." His body slowly turned transparent inside the tentacle, finally transformed into spakes of light ink, merged into the light shield of the bright moon. This was the last thing he could do, and also his redemption for the past. Feng Xiu's breath grew weaker and weaker. The body beneath the black robe began to turn transparent. He looked at Long Heioken. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "You are stronger than me, even stronger than Lin Juan imagined." He raised his hand, as if wanting to touch Long Heioken's head, but didn't make contact. "I'm going to see Lin Juan now. He's waiting for me on the fragments of the creation continent." Feng Xiu's figure dispersed, leaving only a black dragon scale, with the characters Maple Forest and Lin Juan engraved on it. It floated into Long Heioken's hand. The scale still carried some warmth, as if Feng Xiu had just held it. He didn't leave. Shang Tsai gently held Long Heioken's hand. His reincarnation realm glowed softly, reflecting the ghostly images of Feng Xiu and Bai Lingxuan. They stood on the fragments of the creation continent, smiling and waving toward this side. They just went home. The elder of the eternal heroes approached Long Haoken, holding a transparent crystal. Inside was a blurry dark shadow. This is the Lord of the Void. From beyond all the satellite surfaces, sustained by devouring the living on the surfaces, 6,000 years ago, he deceived Tangling, causing Tangling to kill Austin. Griffin's family forced Austin to awaken. Now he is coming in person. In 3 months, he will happily train on the Xingyun Plain. The elder handed the crystal to Long Haoken. We will teach you to use the power of the rules from the infinite star domain. The 6 divine seal thrones must be gathered. Light and darkness must be completely merged. Only in this way can we win.